Let's begin. Today is June 1st, 2024, and we're doing the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses 5 criteria cards and it's 5 verification cards. Let's go to turingmachine.info for the details. So the 5 criteria cards that we're using in today's puzzle are 3, 8, 12, 19, and 20, and we're using the green verification cards. The code above is your way to look up today's puzzle on turingmachine.info. Let's go solve. So here are our 5 criteria cards. In the top row we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. And in the second row we've got criteria card D and criteria card E. If we look at criteria card A, that's going to tell us a little bit about that middle digit, the square digit, as it compares its value to the number 3. So should the square value be less than 3? Should it be equal to 3? Or should it be greater than 3? Criteria card B will look at the 3 digits and will let us know how many of those should be 1. Are there no ones? Is there a single one? Perhaps 2? Maybe all 3 are 1s. Criteria card C will look at the first digit and the last digit and compare them. So should the triangle digit be less than circle? Should they be equal? Or should the triangle be larger than circle? Criteria card D will look at the first 2 digits and take your thumb and compare that to the number 6. Should the sum be less than 6? Should it be equal to 6? Or should the sum be greater than 6? And finally, criteria card E, again, will look at the 3-digit code and tell us a little bit about how it's constructed. For instance, are there no repetitions, meaning that all digits are unique, as in the example 125? Could there be a pair of digits, repeating digits, as in the example 112? Or perhaps it's a case where it's a single digit repeated 3 times. Remember, our objective is to find this one unique 3-digit code that meets all of the criteria we just described. And we're going to begin with the proposal of 314. So the first thing I want to test is to see, are there no repeating digits? Is there a double? And so I'm going to test criteria card E. Okay, so the Turing machine does not approve of my proposal of 314. Notice that 314 are all distinct. There are no repetitions. So that is invalid. So either there's a double digit or it's a triple number. So that's what I'm going to write down for my notes in criteria card in the section for criteria card E. So there are either a double or triple number. Okay, so at this point we really can't cross anything out because, again, that's for the whole code, not for any individual triangle, square, or circle. Next, let's see, if we have a double, what could we, or triple perhaps, what could we test? I guess let's go ahead and I'd like to test criteria card C and compare the first and last digits. So let's see what C tells us. Okay, so the Turing machine does approve of what we have in our proposal. Notice that my first and last digits, my triangle and circle, we see that triangle is less than circle. So that's what we're going to write down in our notes for in section C, that triangle should be less than circle. And so what does that mean for any of our digits? Well, if triangle is to be less than circle, then obviously triangle cannot be the digit 5. 5 is just too large because that means that, circle's out of bounds, so to speak. And vice versa, circle can't be 1. Because if circle's 1, what could triangle be? It can't be any smaller than 1. So that's what, those are the values that we can accurately, discard. So again, notice here that at least 2 is bigger than 1, 3 is bigger than 1 and 2, so on and so forth, until 5 obviously is bigger than all the digits in triangle. So that makes sense. Okay, so since we already know something about triangle and circle, I think I'm going to test criteria card A and see at least have some information compared to that 3-digit. So let's go ahead and test criteria card A. Okay, so it does not approve of my square digit being 1. 1 is less than 3, so that is invalid. So that means that square is either equal to 3 or greater than 3. So let's go ahead and write that in our notes. So again, that's criteria card A. So we're going to say square is either equal or greater than 3. So that means that 1 is invalid and 2 is invalid for square. So no 1 and no 2 for our square digit. So it's either 3 or greater. Okay, so now that we're done with this round, we've already done our 3 Turing tests. Our next objective is to construct a good second proposal. So let's take a look at what we have not checked. We haven't checked the number of 1s. Now notice, in this case, it would be a 50-50. Notice that we've already eliminated 1 from square and circle. So either there is a 1 or there isn't. And we can conclude that it's not a double. The 1 is not going to be the double. And remember, it's either all or there's a double. And at this point, the only possible tripled numbers would be either all 3s or all 4s. But those are kind of rare, but we can't discount them. Okay, and we have not checked criteria card D, which is the sum of the first 2 digits. So let's see. If we take a look at square, that's 3, 4, 5. So there are a few instances where the sum is less than 6. There's only one instance where it's equal to 6. Oh no, I take that back. 4, 2 is also a possibility. And then there's several instances of it being greater than 6. But again, we do have to have that double somewhere. So if, for instance, there is a 1, like I mentioned, it should be triangle. So that would mean that it would be 1, either 3, 3, 4, 4, or 5, 5. So is there a way where we could distinguish all those? So if there was 1, obviously all the circle values of 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5 are all greater than 1. So I think then that means that there probably is no 1. Let's double check again. So 1's a single, it can't be the double. It'd have to be 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. All of those, well, yes, all of them are greater, but there are, we could use criteria card D to either have 4, 5, or 6. So in that case, I don't think it could be less than 6, because how would you distinguish between 133 and 144? I guess there's also the square value that could help us. So the criteria card A, there would be no way to distinguish between 4 and 5. So if anything, maybe square is 3, and so it'd be 133. That's a possibility, because there's no way again to distinguish. Well, I guess you could distinguish between 144 and 155. They're both greater than 3, but then the sum is either less than or greater than or equal to 6. So that actually sounds more plausible that it'd be 144 or 155. What if there are no ones? What else could occur? I think if it's not a 1, I think there would be too many other possibilities, perhaps, at least to list out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try 144 and see how far we get. So let's go ahead and test that. 144. Okay, so first let me test, since we have not tested D, let's go ahead and test the sum of the first two digits, triangle and square, and see what we get. Okay, so it does approve of that, so that's a great first start. So let's go ahead and write that down in our notes, that triangle plus square in this case, the sum of 1 and 4 is 5, so that means that the sum has to be less than 6, since that's what the Turing machine is approving. Okay, so what can we eliminate? Well, we can eliminate the square being 5, because 5 plus all of these digits are 6 or greater. So we can actually cross out the number 5 for square. Okay, what about 4? Well, as in our proposal, 1-4 works, but not 2-4 or 3-4 or 4-4. So we can't eliminate it per se, because 1-4 does work. What about 3? I think what that means is I think we can eliminate the square, because 4 plus either 3 or 4, that's too big, so we can cross out the 4 for triangle. What about the 3? I think we can eliminate the 3 as well, because 3 plus 3 is 6. So, oops, what happened? Oh, I somehow deleted the 4. I apologize. And then, as I stated, we can also cross out the 3 for triangle. Okay, what about the 2? So the 2 works for 2 and 3. So that means our two possibilities look like it's either 1-3, 1-4, or 2-3 as our beginning. And we still do have that 1. So let's see. So you know what? Let me start. I think I'm going to start listing out possibilities. And let me do it in this section here for B. So again, for sums that are less than 6, I can start off with 1-3, and of course, because there's a double, it would have to be a 3. The 1 cannot be doubled. Okay, it's either 1-3 or 1-4. Same thing, 1-4-4. I think that does it for 1, and then we have 2-3, and at that point, it's either 2-3-2 or 2-3-3. And I think that's about it. And of course then, if you notice, there are no triples. There's no way to get a triple. So yes, indeed it is a double. So I'm going to come here and cross out the triple portion here. Okay, so I'm basically deducing that there is a double. Okay, what about... what else can we do about triangle being less than circle? So I don't think we can cross out anything, because indeed 2 or 1 is less than 2 and 2 is less than 3 and all of those. So I don't think we can cross out anything having to do with criteria card C. Yeah, because if I take a look at my first and last, 1 is less than 3, 1 is less than 4. So I can cross out 2-3-2. Ah, very interesting. Okay, so I'm glad I looked at that. So yeah, I can cross out 232, but 233 is still good. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back and review. So the only thing we have not confirmed is whether there's a 1 or finalized criteria card A. Is it that the square digit, is it equal to 3 or greater than 3? So we do have both of those instances, right? The first and the last potential solutions do have equal to 3. The middle one is greater than 3. And let's see, I think everything else looks good. And then obviously 233 does not have a 1. So I think we're going to have to test potentially both. I don't think I can deduce enough with just 1. Let's see. If it is 1, then I would still have to check criteria card A to differentiate. So that doesn't seem to help out. What if I just did A? If we get something that's greater, you know what, that does seem kind of interesting. Oh no, let me take that back. It would be, if I'm looking at only the square, if it's greater, then obviously it's 144. If it's equal to 3, then yes, I would have to check if there's a 1 or not. So I think that may be the best, even though, because the other way, well, I guess I can make the same argument. If I check for 1 and there isn't, I've got my solution. If not, I'd have to check. I don't know if one's better than the other, but I think I will check. Yeah, I don't think it matters, but I'll go ahead and check A, criteria card A again. All right. Okay, so criteria card A, it does not approve that the square should be greater than 4, or sorry, greater than 3. I chose 4, so that means it must be equal. So I'm going to cross this out. And so that means square is equal to 3. So it's not a 4. So I'll cross out the 4 there. And I'll cross out this value here. Okay. And yeah, so we're down to basically, is there a 1 or not? And let's see. So that's a 3. So yeah, so I guess circle, there's no way circle can be either 4 or 5. So just for clarity, let me go ahead and cross out the 4 and the 5 here. There were no potential solutions for that. And at this point, yeah, there are cases where triangle is less than circle. 1 is less than 2, and 2 is less than 3. So yeah, so we'll just have to go ahead and test criteria card B. Is there a 1 or not? So let's go ahead and test that. Okay, so there is no 1. So that means that the answer is 233. So no 1. So we'll cross out this last one. And so we have 2, 3, and because of the criteria card C, it would have to be 233. It can't be 232. So yeah, so it's not going to be, circle is not 2. Okay, so yeah, it looks like our solution is 233. Let me just write a quick note here. No 1 digit. And so, yep, it looks like our solution is 233. And so let's go ahead and go to turingmachine.info and confirm our solution. So 233. Fantastic, we got it. But again, the true test is how did we do versus a Turing machine. So let's go back and take a look at what did we test. And so we tested ACE first. So ACE, and I believe that C was the only correct one in that round. And then we tested ABD. And I believe D was the only one that was correct for that one, and that's all we did. All right, fantastic. So we beat it by one question. The Turing machine had to go to a third round, and because it did ask 7 questions. So I think we did very well in this daily challenge, daily puzzle. And so if you found anything, did I make a mistake? Did you notice something that I could have made some kind of an improvement? Please do write that down in the comments. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up so that others can find it. And if you don't want to miss the next video, please do like and subscribe, and you'll be notified of the next video. Well, that's it for today. Have a great one.